Hey everyone, I'm Matt Braman, Director of Client Analytics at CLEAResult. I'm going to talk about turning data into insights and insights into action. To kick things off is Jill Fredrickson from Rocky Mountain Power.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Jill Fredrickson, Rocky Mountain Power, and I'm the program manager for our residential energy efficiency program. And we have just over 1 million residential customers across our territory in Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming. And our service territory mainly is made up of 3 different climate zones, 3, 5, and 6. I'm just going to set the background on our company and then provide some information about these cooling measures that we've been focused on in our marketing efforts. So in 2020, there was a legislative change in Utah that allowed Rocky Mountain Power to explore and add heat pump technologies into the program, regardless of the existing fuel type that was available at the property line for our residential customers. Before that, it was considered fuel switching if we incentivized electric measures if there was natural gas available at the property line. So it was a big win for us to be able to expand our measure mix because there's mainly natural gas used for heating in Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming. So later in 2020, we filed with the Utah Public Service Commission to introduce dual fuel heat pumps and expand the ductless heat pump offering for properties that do have natural gas. And the last cooling measure that we focused on in these marketing campaigns with Matt and team for the program is evaporative coolers. And that's typically because they're lower cost and they're more efficient than central air conditioning. So the reason why we're doing this in Utah and across our service territory. So to the right, you can see the picture. That's a picture of the Wasatch Front in Salt Lake City, Utah. That is our air quality. In the wintertime, we live in a bowl, and the air and inversion gets trapped in that bowl, and this is what we're breathing here along the Wasatch Front. So this picture really says it all. There's really no need to throw data and statistics at you. You can see how terrible the air quality is. In fact, in recent weeks and years, Utah has been at the top of the list for the worst air quality in the country and in the world at some points. So here at Rocky Mountain Power and PacifiCorp, we're really working to improve our impact on the air quality. And we just recently published our 2021 IRP. And so here are some things that Rocky Mountain Power is doing in this energy vision to help air quality, among other things. So the top one, about 4,300 megawatts of incremental savings through our energy efficiency programs. So that is directly impacted by the marketing campaigns and the data that CLEAResult performs in our program. In the right, on the bottom, the chart there, what that shows you is from 2010 to 2050, where we're at with emissions. The green line is the 2005 base emissions, and the blue line is PacifiCorp emissions. So you can see over time, what we're really trying to accomplish is getting to zero emissions by 2050. There's been a significant drop between 2010 and 2020, and we continue to work towards getting that zero emissions through all of these things that you see, these different bullet points here, mainly through, for us, through the energy efficiency program. And I'll kick it over to Matt to talk about our marketing efforts.
All right, thanks, Jill. So the goal of this campaign was to drive participation in cooling measures in Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming through incentive promotion and education. The primary focus was email, but it's worth noting that in 2020, we had one campaign launched during a high heat event and noticed very high open and click-through rates. This led us to want to test additional weather-based marketing tactics this summer. In addition, through the analytics work, we also identified a number of customers with high cooling loads and a high propensity to participate, who we did not have emails for. While not in the original plans, we sent out direct mail to a number of these customers. As we increasingly rely on digital marketing tactics, it's important that we continue to find ways to engage with all customers. There were several unique challenges associated with these 3 measures. First, these are expensive capital measures and can have a long decision-making process and a need for education. And second, as Jill said, this is a complex territory with different climates, customer types, and regulatory requirements. And last, We needed a way to estimate the right offers for the right homes and the right people. We want to stay relevant. It's not just about the engagement, it's about the long-term relationship and providing ongoing education. This was a cooling campaign, so we started by identifying customers that had significant cooling loads. To do this, we used a regression model to correlate monthly energy use with outdoor temperature. This allows us to normalize for an average weather year and disaggregate the utility bills into heating, cooling, and base loads. The graph on the left shows where the highest concentrations of customers with cooling are spread throughout Rocky Mountain Power's territory. After applying additional filters for single-family, homeownership, and removing past participants, we were left with about 90,000 customers we had emails for. The challenge was then to figure out which of the 3 cooling measures we should recommend for each home. Dual fuel heat pumps are good options for bigger and newer homes with central systems and gas lines present. Evaporative coolers are a good option for homes that may not have a central system, and DHPs are ideal for those who don't have central cooling and may also have inefficient electric heating. To do this segmentation, we created a logic model using meter analytics, experience demographic data, and past participation information. This looks messy because it is, but I can quickly walk through one potential path from left to right. So we start with customers who have cooling loads. If they have cooling and electric heat, then we're going to recommend a ductless heat pump. If they don't have electric heat and are in an area with natural gas, then we needed a way to determine if they could get a recommendation for an evaporative cooler or a dual fuel heat pump. For Idaho and Wyoming, we used vintage and demographic data to determine the recommendation, but for Utah, we had enough historical participation data that we were able to come up with a propensity model to inform the recommendation. Moving on to the results. Next, I want to show some early feedback on the campaign. And it's important to note that there are a lot of factors that go into a customer deciding to move forward with one of these measures, including the creative and copy, timing, weather, and climate. This was one of the hottest years on record, which certainly played a factor in decision-making for some customers. It's also worth noting it's too early to fully measure the impact, as not all the rebate applications have been submitted or processed at this time. However, the overall open rates and click-through rates exceeded the average of the last 2 years by over 20%. And not surprisingly, the weather-triggered email had the best results, with open rates 50% above average. And as expected, we also saw significant increases in web traffic when both rounds of email were sent. The first round was sent in late June, and the second round was sent on July 19th, coinciding with a hot weather event. And on the right, you can see rebate redemptions for the month of July and August for evaporative coolers were significantly higher than the prior 2 years. Dual fuel heat pumps are a new measure, so year-over-year comparisons weren't possible. Last, I want to talk about the evolution of the marketing strategy. It takes a lot of teams working together at the right times to fully integrate analytics into campaigns. For campaigns last winter, we were using the meter analytics and segmentation data primarily to target customers. And given the strong results, analytics were brought in early this summer and helped inform the tactics as well as the copy that was used. There was also good collaboration and education across teams on how to operationalize meter data. For this winter, analytics will be brought in even earlier to inform tactics and messaging, which will allow campaigns to be increasingly personalized. We will also further analyze the impact of each touch point on different customer types so that we can continue to optimize the experience. That wraps up our presentation. Thank you for listening. I look forward to any questions you might have.